This is the Music Marketing Podcast. Welcome to the podcast. On this episode, we're going to be talking about ways that musicians can still make money and earn an income during a pandemic. Sure, your live gigs have most likely all gone away. Tours and festivals have been shut down. If you did any live in-person teaching, that's probably dried up as well. Sure, you could just throw in the towel and give up and wait for this whole thing to go away and go back to normal, or you can be proactive and find other ways to generate revenue. So I have about 4 or 5 things I'm going to share with you. And yes, streaming a live concert is one of them. Everyone's doing that these days. But it's actually the last thing on my list. So hopefully you will hear some things that maybe you haven't thought of. By the way, I'm your host, Bob Baker. I'm the author of the Guerrilla Music Marketing Handbook, as well as other books and resources such as the 5-Minute Music Marketer, the 9 Irrefutable Laws of Music Marketing, and many other resources for musicians, singers, songwriters, and music biz pros just like you. In the show notes of this episode, I'll have links to Amazon and various places where you can learn more about those things. So I know you're eager to get to it, so let's dive into these ways that musicians can make money. This first one, I was going to call it digital personalization, but I think a better term might be remote personalization. Say that 5 times fast. So as you're well aware, a lot of social events are being canceled or altered when people have birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, various types of celebrations. They're for the most part not happening in person, so they're happening digitally. Zoom, as I'm sure you know, has become an incredibly popular platform. Many people are using it, so much so that there's a new phrase called Zoom fatigue that's plaguing a lot of people. So what this means are people are still connecting digitally to celebrate with each other, but they just have to do it from a distance. But there's an opportunity there for you as a creative artist. And this whole idea, though, is based on the concept that you have to be creative and you have to offer something personal and customized, something that can't just be downloaded and shared. So that usually requires your personal involvement. So let's say that someone who's a big fan of yours is having a birthday or some other type of celebration, an anniversary or something. And the friend or family member who's throwing a Zoom party for them wants to do something special, so they might hire you to come in as a surprise, wish them a happy birthday, and play them a song. In fact, I just experienced this the other day. My friend Steve had a birthday, and he had a little party. He and his wife and some of our friends met in their driveway, kept our social distance from each other. And his wife, Maria, had reached out to a local musician friend and asked if he could Zoom in, and he did that very thing. I just thought it was a real cool way to help celebrate his birthday. So throw it out there to your email list and on social media. Make people aware that you are available to come on live and create that special experience for someone. You'll have to come up with some kind of a pricing structure. Maybe you can make it flexible based on the person's ability to pay, but I think it's something to seriously consider. Another option that's kind of related to that is a personalized song. Now, a lot of artists have done this over the years, but in this particular era of the pandemic, it seems like the ideal thing to also offer to your fan base. Instead of you showing up live at an online party, you gather some information on the person being celebrated, and you write an original song that is then presented to them as a special surprise. I mean, how many people get an original song as a birthday present? And there's a little bit more involved in this than just showing up at a Zoom meeting. So you should charge something that values your time, but it's another thing you can offer, a way to make money remotely. Okay, let's move on to another idea. A moment ago, I mentioned the driveway party for my friend Steve. A lot of people are doing this. Neighbors are getting together. Again, staying 6 feet or so apart from each other. But I couldn't help but think about something that's decades old, and that's the concept of the singing telegram. But it might be a great time to bring the singing telegram back. Obviously, you couldn't do this from a distance. You'd have to be in the same vicinity of the people who hire you to do this. But how cool would that be? What if at Steve's birthday party, instead of his musician friend calling in by Zoom, a car pulls up and he steps out with a guitar and stands at the end of the driveway and plays him a song? I guess it's not quite a house concert, it'd be a driveway concert, wouldn't it? This is another thing you could offer to your fan base. Hopefully you have an email list, so definitely send it out that way. But post your availability to do this on social media or however you reach your fans. And again, since it's taking you time to drive to the place and make yourself available, you should be able to charge for it. And maybe make a few extra dollars while we're waiting for things to blow over. All right, let's move on to the next idea. And this one we might be able to call some kind of a physical merch haul package or something that you can offer. Because one of the big things that has changed since people can't go shopping like they used to is they're having things delivered. Physical things delivered to their doorstep. So do you have a collection of things you could offer your fans? Of course, they include physical CDs if you have them. It might be t-shirts, mugs, whatever kind of merchandise you might offer. And if you don't have many products, maybe it's a good time to design some stuff. There are so many print-on-demand options for both physical CDs as well as merchandise where you only order it or ship it when someone pays you for it. You can use a site like Kunaki to have your CDs manufactured, low quantities, low cost. That's Kunaki, KUNAKI.com. If you're not familiar with it, check that out. You could hire a designer for a t-shirt, slogan, or logo or something on Fiverr. You can create one yourself on a site like Canva.com. And then there are just a ton of sites out there that can print your artwork on a wide array of merchandise, apparel, household items, even shower curtains, phone cases, and yes, even face masks now. In fact, I'm about to do a very similar thing where I'm going to put out an offer. It's only for people in the US because I want to use a priority padded envelope to send the stuff in. But I'm going to have people choose 3 of my paperback books. And for one price of probably around $45, I'll not only send them the 3 books, but I'll add some other items. It could be a 4th book. I have a lot of CDs of my original music and some of my spoken word inspirational stuff sitting around the house. And I will stuff a lot of those surprise bonuses into the package and ship it to whoever purchases my offer. Time will tell how people respond to it, but this is something I'm doing. I'm encouraging you to consider too. 2 more things on my list, and these last ones are a little more obvious and predictable, but I just wanted to include them to be thorough. But if there's anything that you can teach, if there's anything that people come to you and ask questions about, offer to teach that thing online. It could be singing, vocal lessons. Could be how to play your instrument. Maybe you're a whiz at recording gear and technology. Or maybe people respect you for your songwriting. You can teach that and people will pay you even for an online version of it. And yes, you could pre-record videos and create a course. There's a bit of time and effort involved in that. Or just make yourself available for one-on-one consulting, teaching, coaching. There's so many different ways to structure it. You can have an hourly fee, or you can come up with multi-week packages. Probably not a bad idea to have an occasional free session so people can sample your expertise. And then at the end of the free session, you make them aware of how they can pay to get access to you. Something to consider. And then finally is the thing it seems every musician is doing these days, and that's streaming live concerts. Boy, there are so many places, so many ways to do this. You can do 30-minute shows, hour-long shows, heck, all day, all afternoon. You can stream on Facebook Live, on Instagram Live. There's YouTube Live. You can use Zoom or whatever the version of Google Hangouts is now. I think the best way is probably to make access to your concerts free, and then at regular intervals throughout the online show, you make people aware of how they can send you a tip or a donation. And that could be through Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. You put that information up on the screen, or communicate it in some way, and a lot of artists are actually making a good chunk of change doing this. Not everyone, but if you're smart about it, it could be a way of making extra money. Now, there are websites like Stageit.com that are kind of set up for this very things. I'm sure there are a lot of others out there where you can charge for admission in advance. They could tip you during the show. Certainly consider those. But I just like the simplicity of using Facebook and Instagram and those things that a lot of people are familiar with to get as many people on the live stream as possible, give them a good experience, and then make a pitch for payment. And here's a clever way to go live to multiple platforms. Yes, there are apps and software that allow you to do this, but the poor man's way of streaming to multiple platforms is to use multiple devices. My girlfriend Pookie and I have done this very thing where we may have a laptop going where it's streaming live to my YouTube channel. I have my iPhone going, streaming live to my personal profile on Facebook. She has her iPhone going at the same time, streaming live to her profile on Facebook. So you can make this as technically challenging or simple as you want. But if you haven't done this, even though a lot of people are already doing it, jump in, have some fun with it, continue to share your music with your fans and your followers. So that's it for my list. I'm sure there are many other ways. Feel free to reach out and make me aware of something cool and creative that you're doing in this realm. I also have a downloadable audio resource called 19 Cash Flow Strategies for Musicians, Singers, Songwriters. I don't know if that's the exact title, but it's pretty close. I'll have a link to that in the show notes. So I hope this got your wheels turning. Take an idea, the one that maybe most resonated with you, act on it, set a date, do some research, and make it happen. That's what it's all about. It's great to listen to these ideas and going, oh, cool, that's a neat concept, but none of it matters until you act on it. So pick something off this list, make it happen, and let me know how things go. I love hearing your success stories. That's it for now. Until next time, this is Bob Baker saying so long for now.